Mari Tamaki, a second-year high school student who fears she has not been making the most of her youth, contemplates skipping school and going on an impulsive trip. One evening, she comes across an envelope dropped by a girl, discovering it contains 1 million yen. The next day, Mari finds the girl who had dropped the envelope, Shirase, who had been saving up the money to travel to Antarctica and find her missing mother, Takako. Taking an interest in Antarctica herself, Mari decides to join Shirase on her journey. Needing money for a flight to Fremantle, where an expedition toward Antarctica is scheduled to depart from, Mari begins working at a convenience store alongside co-worker Hinata. Having overheard Mari and Shirase's conversations, Hinata also takes an interest in going to Antarctica and joins in on Shirase's plan. Later, the girls go to Tokyo to try and carry out a plan to sneak aboard the exhibition, only to get discovered by two of the members. Despite offering the money she had saved up as a sponsorship for the expedition, Shirase is unable to convince them to let them come on the expedition, as they have their own plan to gather the funding needed. The girls are approached by Yuzuki, a child actress who had been chosen to go on the Antarctic expedition as a reporter, who asks Shirase to go in her place. However, Yuzuki's manager and mother, Tamiko, is adamant about Yuzuki going as a part of her job. As Yuzuki remains defiant, Tamiko proposes that if Shirase, Mari, and Miyaki can convince Yuzuki to go on the expedition, they can accompany her. Asked why she does not want to go, Yuzuki explains how she never got to make any true friends because of her acting career. The next day, the girls invite Yuzuki to hang out with them as proper friends, prompting her to agree to go to Antarctica as long as they come with her. Mari gets in trouble with her mother after she fakes her signature on a permission slip and is tasked with passing all of her tests. With the threat of studies looming, Mari and the others head to a summer training camp for the expedition, where they meet the team captain Gin. While spending their first night in a tent, Shirase explains how Gin went with Takako on a previous Antarctica expedition that the latter did not come home from. Early the next morning, Mari comes across Gin, tells her about what Takako was like. As the Antarctica expedition draws near, Mari's childhood friend Megumi Takahashi starts to act jealous towards her. On the day before the expedition, Megumi tells Mari that people have been spreading rumors about her, only for Shirase and Hinata to show up and take her to karaoke to blow off some steam. Afterwards, Mari tells Megumi of how she wanted to become strong, so she would not have to rely on her all the time. The next day, Megumi reveals she has been the one spreading bad rumors about Mari and Shirase, realizing she had been dependent on Mari relying on her. Rejecting Megumi's request to break off their friendship, Mari joins the others as they set off on the first leg of their trip. As the girls arrive in Singapore for the 2-day layover before boarding their connecting flight to Australia, Hinata discovers that she appears to have lost her passport. With not enough time before their next flight to obtain a new passport from the embassy, Hinata accepts that she may have to miss out on the expedition altogether, much to Shirase's objection. The next day, as the girls find themselves unable to change their tickets for a later flight, Shirase offers up the 1 million yen she had saved to change them to business class tickets so they can all go together. Later that evening, however, Shirase discovers that Hinata's passport was in her purse the entire time, as she had been holding onto it for her after coming out of customs while Hinata was trying to tie her shoe, then forgot about it. With the travel situation resolved, Mari and Yuzuki punish Shirase and Hinata for all the trouble they caused by having them eat durians. Arriving in Fremantle, the girls tour around the expedition ship to film a report before departure. While helping out the other workers, the girls begin to worry about how understaffed the expedition is and becomes curious as to whether Kane is hiding some kind of plan from them. Later that night, Shirase speaks to Gin about how Takako disappeared and their drive to go to Antarctica once more. The ship finally sets off on its voyage, with Mari and the others tasked with various jobs alongside their report before training on deck to build stamina. However, everyone starts feeling seasick, which only gets worse as the ship starts sailing through some fierce currents. The girls cheer up when they get a first-hand taste of the waves and soon get used to riding a boat as it begins its approach towards Antarctica. One of the crewmates, Toshio, reveals that he has fallen in love with Gin. Feeling that it might spice up their report, the girls decide to interview Gin to see if they can learn anything about her love life. Later, Gin, who had been worried about Shirase, hates her after Takako disappeared, speaks with Shirase, who is conflicted about how to feel. Just then, the ship is forced to break through a large sheet of ice standing in its path, during which Gin recalls the last transmission she received from Takako. As Toshio ends up giving up on his crush, the girls finally set foot on dry land. The girls arrive to Soyowa Station. As everyone gets the station ready, Yuzuki, who had been just offered a role for a drama, becomes curious about what point she officially becomes friends with the others. As the crew enjoys a Christmas party, Yuzuki becomes further confused about the friendship meaning when Mari cries after she proposes having friendship contracts. Later that evening, Mari tells Yuzuki about how she views her friendship with Megumi before everyone shows up for a belated birthday celebration, giving Yuzuki her first birthday with friends. As the girls receive video messages from their friends and families, Hinata acts strangely when some old acquaintances of hers call, after which Shirase spots her letting out her frustrations in private. Concerned about Hinata, Shirase gets caught looking at emails sent by Hinata's former teammates in the track club. Hinata explains that because of her talent, she was looked down upon, who then spread bad rumors that led Hinata to quit school. While on a mission to set up solar panels and satellite markers, Shirase manages to give Hinata some comfort over her dilemma. The next day, as the girls prepare for a live broadcast, Shirase confronts Hinata's teammates over their actions, giving Hinata some peace of mind. Shirase is unsure how to feel when she's invited to join the others on a snowcat ride to where Takako was last heard from, fearing that there will be nothing left for her once she goes. After hearing Gin's reasons for coming to Antarctica, despite knowing that Takako is dead, Shirase reminds herself of the effort she put in to earn the money she saved before deciding to join the others on their mission. As the team spent the night in the middle of a blizzard, Shirase hears from Gin about Takako's final words before Mari gives her thanks for taking her to Antarctica. Upon arriving at a site for an observatory, Mari and the others search for proof that Takako was there, managing to find a laptop belonging to her. Logging onto it, Shirase breaks into tears as it reveals all the emails she had sent to Takako that never got to be read. With their time in Antarctica drawing to a close, the girls decide to play a game of baseball with all the team members before they leave, after which Shirase decides to cut her hair. At their farewell party, Shirase gives a speech on her thoughts on Antarctica, making a promise to come again. As the girls take their leave, Gin discovers one final email in Takako's outbox, addressed to Shirase, containing a photo she took of the Aurora Australis, which the girls get to witness themselves. Upon arriving in Japan and parting ways with each other, Shirase reveals she has left her earnings in Antarctica, while Mari discovers that Megumi has gone to the Arctic.